Screw it. I wish JT and Steven would talk about obsession on Past the Silver Screen.
Welcome back to Past the Silver Screen. It is your host here, Steven, with my lovely co-host, JT. And unfortunately, the third part of the podcast, Bruce could not make it in today. But that's all right. He'll be missed.
Yep, he'll be deeply, deeply missed. Steven, you okay over there, buddy?
So, Obsession.
Oh, yeah. What? Yeah. That's. I mean, didn't we have? We had like a whole segment that we were gonna do before this, but like, are you okay? Like, you didn't.
Yeah, did you not think the movie was good?
I mean, I loved it, but and dude, Obsession was so good. I absolutely loved it, man. I can't tell you how, like, I'm not a horror person, you know this, but Obsession was I am obsessed with Obsession.
Same. It has nonstop been living in my head.
It is living rent free, and I'm glad that it is, truthfully.
Oh yeah.
And like I saw it a little bit later than the average person because it did come out in the middle of May, and here we are at the end of May. So I saw it a little bit later on, but yeah, I'm kind of, hurting myself that I didn't see it when everybody else saw it. But I will say, with that, being said, the word of mouth has helped this movie tremendously because when people saw it in the middle of the month, they were like, hey, you've got to go see this. This is awesome. Da, 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 da. And then here we are seeing it, and it was just a fantastic movie. Like I've been wanting to talk about this movie for so long.
Same. I remember getting out of the theater being like, yeah, I need to talk about this movie like as soon as possible.
Yeah. Who did you go see it with?
I went with my lovely girlfriend, and
Nice.
It's one of those things where you kind of had mentioned in your review, which if nobody's seen it yet, definitely go check out our review on Past the Silver Screen on YouTube, TikTok, everywhere you can find us. We have the video up.
Yes.
But yeah, if you're an animal pet owner like Hannah and you guys are, I mean it's a rough beginning.
Yeah.
So
should we put a spoiler warning? Are we going to talk about spoilers here?
Do you want to talk about spoilers? Because I will. We can save the latter half for spoilers if you want.
Absolutely. So like we'll give you all a spoiler warning when we get there. How about that? So you can listen to if unless you don't care about spoilers and you just want to listen to us, our beautiful voices. Yeah, I went and saw it with a good friend Mike, who who plays D&D with us. Him and I went and saw it on Friday. Literally, you know what? I know we're saving this and we will talk about it later. But I had just seen Mando and Grogu the day before, and then I went and saw this movie. I feel so bad for Mando and Grogu. I felt so bad. I was like, ooh, like didn't give enough time for that to sink in. And then I saw this fantabulous movie called Obsession. No, I had a blast. It was so good. Again, I've mentioned it before on our reviews on video form. I'm not a horror fan. Like that is one of the lowest genres that I can pick from on the totem pole. It's like horror and like rom-coms. I just can't get into it. But this one didn't feel necessarily like a horror film. I know it's categorized as that, but like there was no like. I'm trying to do it without spoiling it, but like there are jump scares and there are like deaths, but like it was more psychological thriller than like slasher gory like this movie there's some messed up moments in it, but those messed up moments like play to how our characters are feeling and how like what is going on and stuff. So yeah, I had a blast with it. And do you want to tell our audience the kind of like the synopsis of the movie if they don't know?
With Obsession, it revolves around he is the protagonist of the movie,
Yeah.
Bear, and he goes through and he has this crush on this woman named Nikki in their friend group, and he ends up going into I don't know if they really specified it, if it was like a crystal shop or just like something like that, but he found like this novelty toy called a One Wish Willow, and not thinking anything of it, he goes through
Yeah.
and just makes a wish that Nikki would love him more than, I quote, anyone in the fucking universe.
Yep.
Right. And
Yep.
from there, the movie spirals. You can kind of guess by the title of where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's a pretty simple idea, but there's a lot of really great things about it that they were doing with it.
Yeah, um it was just so well made in the fact that like it's a simple idea, and like how many times have like anybody said, "Oh, I wish this would happen," and then it doesn't come true, but all of a
Right.
sudden you have this, like you said, this novelty little item that, again, some reviews say it works, some reviews say it doesn't work, and all of a sudden it does work, and
Mm-hmm.
shit spirals, and it gets insane very quickly. One of the reasons um, why I have it as a 4.5 out of 5 and not a perfect 5 out of 5 is simply because the movie does start off a little slow.
Mm-hmm.
And you really are just like, okay, when are we going to get into the meat and potatoes of this thing? But once we do, it is all
Oh,
gas, no brakes.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it is full swing. You're getting right into it. Um, and you even like you get this eerie feeling. Like I was like coming out of my skin, like on the edge of my seat,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't like not look at the screen. So I'm sitting over here like I wondering wondering what's gonna happen next. And then all of a sudden
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, next scene, please. But it's so good, and I have to chalk that up to the actors and actresses in this film because
Fantastic.
the way that they like I will always have love for a movie when the people on the screen can make me feel a certain way.
Oh yeah, they're doing
And
their job 100% right.
yes, absolutely. Indy Navarrete, hey, I don't know if she can see in the future, but I can, and I see awards for this woman coming very
Mm-hmm.
soon. Like, look, the best thing I described this movie to Mike when we got out of the theater was this movie reminded me a lot of 2025's Weapons.
Yeah.
Not going to be for everyone. It's going to be not your typical horror slasher gory film, but it's going to have that psychological thrill to it, and that messes with your psyche type, and this is exactly what it does. And
Mm.
I've got to give a huge shout out to the director, Curry Barker, because he this year seems like the year for YouTubers to make
Mm-hmm.
movies, and while I don't know if it's gone as well as people thought it would, um this one is a like grand slam home run, knock it out of the park. Like Curry did his
1000%.
thing in this one. He absolutely did his thing in this one.
Yeah, and also just like Curry is just because I never watched a lot of his stuff before this movie came out. So
Hmm.
afterwards, Hannah was like, "No, you seriously, you need to watch some of his stuff." And his like shorts and skits on YouTube are insane. They're so hilarious. And
Oh yeah,
I was just like, "Yeah, there's a reason why this movie did so well because he knows every single skit. He knew what he was doing. There was always some like fun little, um, trick or twist in them, and
yeah,
it hits it. And I think the one thing too with these YouTubers that go through and they make these projects is that's a great thing about platforms like YouTube because they can get all these things out there that they've done. If he never did YouTube or never posted stuff on YouTube, you're never gonna sell a movie.
yeah,
You're never gonna go through and just jump into an office.
yeah.
So I mean, shout out to Markiplier with Iron Long, Curry Barker with Obsession, and we have Kane Parsons coming up soon with the Backrooms.
Absolutely.
So it's honestly it's gonna be such a good time for just
Yeah,
moviegoers. It's a new
and
fresh idea and not a studio thing.
yeah, and I also think that like this year is a I don't want to say a reassurance of like you can have good ideas, but like hey, if you have this great plan, then go for it. Like make it
Hmm.
yours. And the fact that the horror genre, again, while I don't care for it and it's not my first pick, it is having this like up and coming like revival almost, because you don't really see that many, or at least I don't, and maybe it's because I don't look at it, you know, as a whole. But like, I don't know. You have the Iron Lung, which I guess was considered horror. You have the Backrooms, which is horror. You have this movie, which is horror. You've had Hokum. Um, I'm trying to think. Undertone from A24.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the Passenger, which is new. It's just, I mean, there is a revival of horror, but not like your typical like Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy Krueger type horror. Like it's not
Yeah.
gonna be slasher, mess with your mind type or mess in your dreams type, movies. This is more of like, okay, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna, mess with your brain. We're gonna
Yeah.
make you think one thing and then it's gonna be completely different, and you have to sit here and watch it play through, and you're like, ah, sweet, I love it.
Yeah. And
Thanks.
then I think the great thing about this movie too, and this might just be me, because I really like watching horror movies, uh, but is it just me? But I think horror movies released in months that are not October, they draw a lot more attention, because it's like, wow, you have the willingness to just kind of go out and release during a time that's not your standard time of the year on Halloween.
Yeah.
And with Obsession, I mean, middle of May, which we've had other iconic May releases for horror movies before that have done also very successfully well. Things like A Quiet Place,
Mm-hmm.
Ma. You know, it's just I absolutely love watching horror movies in May. It's
Yeah.
in any other month than October. October is one of those months where everything comes out and you're like, all right, it's it's a scary movie in October. I don't really care. But
Yeah.
no, with these ones it's different.
And I do feel like that those October horror, quote unquote, horror releases are more of like spooky, like we're playing to the times, like it's this
Yeah.
like, look, Halloween, bats and pumpkins and like, but
Hmm.
the other movies are like, nah, we're gonna go elsewhere and not go with the feeling of this is, fall time or whatever. Like we're in the middle of May. Let's drop a horror
Yeah.
movie that's gonna be talked about for a good bit. I mean, it in the box office. I'm not a huge box office guy. I could care less what a movie does in the box office. If I like it, I like it. That's how I
Hmm.
view those type, things. But I do, I would feel remiss if I didn't talk about the fact that this movie had a 25% jump in its second weekend in
Yeah.
the box office, which
That's
does not
insane.
happen. It does not, that
No.
very rarely happens. You've got to have like Avengers level, like Marvel DC level hype for a movie to have a jump in the second weekend. But the fact that this movie had a second weekend jump is incredible. And
Yeah.
that just goes to the fans and like to the people who love this movie talking so much about it, saying how great it is, and then that word of mouth spreads. Because I I was gonna see it eventually, but not like as soon as I really wanted to, because like
Yeah.
I heard, we had a guest on the Quantum Couch podcast, Cine Josh. He was telling me about it, saying you gotta go see it. You were telling me, hey, you gotta go see it. Um, and then all of a sudden, like my good friend Mike, who did go and see it with me, he was like, "Dude, I've heard so much things about this. Like, we got to go see it." And so, yeah, we went and saw it,
Look
and
at that.
I had a great time. And yeah,
The power of word of mouth. Like,
oh
it's just it's just the draw. Like I was even talking to my mom. We were seeing Mandalorian and Grogu. I'm sitting in line. I'm like, you need to see Obsession. This shit is
yeah,
nuts. And she was like, okay, yeah, I'll watch it. I'll watch it. And it's like, yeah, and props, because I mean, I'm with you on the same page like you meant. Like when it comes down to success of movies, I'm never one to look at the budget and the domestic
yeah,
box office income and be like, well, this flopped. Uh, but
yeah,
the fact that this movie, it's I think the budget was $1 million or less.
yeah, something like that.
So the fact that it's already probably, I don't know, 20 times its budget, and it's just
Yeah,
at this point it's just straight up profit, is fantastic. And I
oh,
think
absolutely,
they can do a lot
absolutely.
with this franchise. For me, I think this is going to be the next big franchise, and I really hope it takes off.
I mean that's a good thing that you said, because I honestly think and I hope that they have spin-offs of something like this, because like
Hmm.
and maybe when we get into spoilers here in just a few minutes, we'll discuss more about it. But like, the door's not closed for something else. You know what I mean? Like there's
1000%.
like this item that Bear uses, the One Wish Willow, is an item that anybody can buy, and multiple people have
$7.
used it. Multiple people have used it. Multiple people have bought it. Like, it's one of those where it's like this thing is still around. So it's not like, you have those movies where this item gets magically wished away or like dissolves after its use. It's like, no, you can go to the store and you can buy it for, like you said, $7, and then here's what happens. So I would love to see like a, maybe not movie spin-offs, but like a TV show. Like
Yes.
like I would love to see something like a show called like The One Wish Willow, and it's just each episode is a different person. But
Mhm.
to make it interesting, each person, it's, I don't want it to be like chronological, not chronological, but like I don't want it to connect in a sense. But I would love to see like episode 1, someone wishes for, um, you know, I don't know, for a peaceful place, like to be in a peaceful place, and then they're all of a sudden at the, in the cabins in the woods, and it may not be all peaceful all the time, but it is peaceful some of the times, and
Yeah.
because it's all how you word your wish. And
Mhm.
then in the second episode, you don't see that person again, or you mention that, but you see like an online like thing, and it's like, I wished for a peaceful place and this is what I got. And it's like, okay, there's the connection with the show. And then the next person, like in episode 2, wishes for, oh, that can't be true. Let me just make it up. I wish for a dog, but they don't get a dog. And so it's
Yeah.
this person spiraling. Like, some episodes work, some episodes don't. Like, that's kind of how I wanted like this spin-off to be.
I would love that. I talked about it a little bit on their podcast, on the review, where it was just like every episode. You could even make it like a 6 episode season, 45 minutes to an hour for each episode, and maybe for each one you just pull in a different director. And it's like, I want you to tell me like what your vision would be with this whole One
Mm,
Wish Willow,
yeah.
and like
Yep.
how it all plays out. Uh, and we'll get to it when it comes down to spoiler territory. But I do have a question to ask you regarding the wishes and how they work, because I had a
Yes.
really interesting idea of that kind of side of things. But we'll get into that later.
Okay. Okay.
I can't fucking do this. I can't do this shit. Hey, where's the number? Here. Come on. Pick up the fucking phone. Come on.
Hello.
Is this One Wish Willow?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Okay. I was calling to see if I could alter a wish.
You'd like to cancel your wish?
Oh, no. I just need to alter it for me to make it easier, I guess.
Yeah, sorry, we don't really do that.
Oh, okay, but listen, I don't know what's happened to me, man. I can't stay awake anymore. I've tried coffee, energy shots, nothing works. Every time I close my eyes, she's there.
Okay.
It's Nikki. She's everywhere. She's in my apartment, outside my work, standing at the end of my hallway. I haven't slept in like 3 days.
Okay, and did you not want her to be there?
What? No, I mean, I didn't think it would be like this. I didn't think she'd be crazy, and I just wanted to go back to normal.
Right. Well, you probably should have read the box before you made the wish.
What?
Warnings were clearly listed under possible side effects: obsession, stalking, psychological torment, unexpected behavior, violent tendencies, self-mutilation, mild inconvenience.
Mild inconvenience? She's watching me sleep at night, and she's screaming at me.
Okay. Anyway, there is one thing you can do.
Oh, thank God. Okay, just please tell me, what can I do?
Get Dubby Energy.
What?
Dubby has no fillers, no sugar, no crash. Just clean energy designed to keep you awake and focused when your stalker won't leave you alone. Use code TQC for 10% off of your order.
Are you seriously giving me an ad read right now? My life is in danger. That's why I'm calling you.
You probably should have gotten W before you made the wish.
I think she's here. Oh, fuck. It's Nikki.
Well, like I said, W's really your best option here.
I don't have time. What can I do? Please, there has to be another option. There has to be something.
Nothing really. That's your option.
But there just has to be something. What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me?
So before we get into spoilers, I do want to read off Mike, good friend who saw the movie with me. Big, huge fan of the podcast. He wrote his review, and absolutely. Shout out to Mike. I'm gonna read off his review from what he sent me. So he says, I'm gonna say it. I'm obsessed with obsession. Aren't we all, Mike? Aren't we all? As a huge fan of That's a Bad Idea, I knew Curry Barker has the tools to make you feel like you want to crawl out of your own skin. He then goes on and says, I knew Cooper Tomlinson could play a perfect everyman best friend, which shout out to, Ian, I believe is his name, and his best friend, Bear's best friend, Ian. So shout out to Cooper for playing a great Ian. They're irrelevant. They're hilarious. They're self-aware, and they can scare the shit out of you, which, yes, Ian does all of those things. He says, what I didn't know was what an incredible performance I would see from Indy Navarrete. And yes, we all agree. He goes on, Steven, he says, as Steven said of Toni Collette in Hereditary, fuck that. We feel every emotional possible towards Nikki, and she has no part to play in her own story. She is a passenger throughout the entire movie, yet she earns the most reaction out of the viewer. I'm doing everything in my power not to spoil anything, because this is a film that demands to be seen with nothing to go off of, which I agree, absolutely. Every single time you feel you have a grasp of something, a wrench gets thrown into the works and completely shatters what you thought you knew. There are a few specific scenes where it seems like there really is hope, only to have it dashed in a single breath, leaving you feeling like you have just been punched in the stomach. It's gross in every way. It says, it's gross in every way. Nothing feels safe. The framing and lighting make you feel like there's something hiding in every single shadow, something waiting around every corner, or someone literally standing in plain fucking sight. I feel sick leaving the theater, and I wanted to turn right back around and go in for a second, third, and maybe fourth viewing. It's a movie that sinks its teeth into you gradually, but will you have it in its clinches for long after the credits roll? 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, whatever you want to call it. Anything Curry Barker does, I'm seeing it again.
Wow.
So shout out to Mike. Obviously, he is a huge fan of this movie, and I'm not gonna lie. After seeing it with him, I was like we were discussing it like all movie lovers do. We sat out in the parking lot and literally just talked about the movie for like 20-30 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, no, he is a huge fan of this movie, and I agree. I while I don't think it's a perfect film because of the issues we discussed earlier and some issues that we'll get into here in a second with spoilers. Yeah, it's just so fantastic, and I'm really glad that I was able to see it.
Yeah, same. And Mike, that was fantastic because I 100% agree. There was just so many great moments and parts where you're just like, I do not know how this is even gonna get resolved or fixed. Just fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, do you want to get into some spoilers for the movie?
Let's do it. This is a spoiler
Yes.
warning for every listener out there. If you haven't seen the movie, please go watch it and then come back.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna, since we don't have our third guest or a third co-host with us today, lovely Bruce, I'm gonna pay some homage to him, and say, Steven, in the post credit, you could put a wah, wah,
We gotta love those
spoiler warning.
sirens.
Yeah, spoiler warning. Bruce does the best sirens ever. So yeah, when I mentioned earlier, Steven, about how this movie starts off a little slow, I would say for the first 15 minutes, possibly 20, you really don't know what you're getting into. You know the movie's called Obsession, and if you've seen the trailers, which, by the way, I've only seen one leading into this movie. That's it. Didn't see the clips, didn't see a second trailer, didn't see a final trailer, just one. And so I knew it was going to get into a psychological thriller, and I was like, okay, well, what are we doing? Really, we're opening up with just Ian and Bear at a diner, and Bear is just trying to confess to a waitress how he feels about Nikki. I was so damn confused because I was like, is this waitress Nikki? Like, is this, like, who is this? But it's not Nikki. And then you realize that Bear's like, oh, no, that was terrible. That was so cringe. Like, what are you doing? Like, da 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 da. And he's like, that was bad. And he was like, yeah, don't ever do it again. But we learn later on why he shouldn't do it again, and what the secret behind Ian and Nikki is. But then we jump to them at a bar, and it's the four friends. It's Sarah, Ian, Bear, and Nikki. Bear is trying to do this awkward, flirty, I'll buy your drink, I bought you something. I very much of a, I feel like a lot of guys have gone through that where they're like, I'm just going to play the nice card and see where it goes. But Ian's like, no, you got to play the bad guy. You got to, call her Freaky Nikki. And, he's like, well, she doesn't like that call. He's like, well, just play around with her. And it's like, okay.
Right.
But then, we jump to her, Bear taking Nikki home. And this is when the movie picks up. This is where I said, oh shit, here we go. Because he does buy a $7 One Wish Willow, and he doesn't think anything of it. And he's just like, whatever, this is, whatever. Nikki asks him an important question, Steven, and I'm curious to see how you thought of it. She plainly asks, do you like me? And I feel like in that moment, Bear kind of messed up.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Bear was just an idiot, because all you had to do was just tell her. That's all you had to do. And he said, what? No. Like, why? Like, I like what we have going on now, this friendship. Why would I want to mess that up? Stupid. Idiot. What are you doing? You dummy. And then he realizes that he messed up. And what does he do, Steven? He uses the One Wish Willow.
And also, is it just me? But I think that maybe Nikki had liked him, because she said,
Yes.
when I have a crush on someone, nobody knows.
Yep.
And that was just the perfect window for him to say yes. And guess what, Bear? I mean, I know the movie has to paint him as the protagonist because Nikki's the bad person. But, dude, Bear is the worst.
Yeah, Bear is literally the worst guy.
Stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. But what I did happen to glance over, and I'm sorry for all those, all of our listeners who have seen the movie and are like, hey, you missed an important part. I don't really like to talk about this part because I do own a cat myself. But Bear's cat did, unfortunately, get into some medication that Bear has, that will come into play a little later on in the movie. But the cat does not survive. And the cat will also come into play in a little bit, bit later on. So I'm a firm believer. I will not. As much as I loved Obsession, I cannot give it a perfect 5 out of 5 because it does have some animal harm in it. I'm fully on board. Like yes, I know it was as a puppet. Yes, I know it was, and we didn't get to see it on screen. It's just,
But
if
still.
you, like you mentioned earlier, if you own a cat and you know that, like, I can't tell you, I take like morning pills before I go to work. If I drop one of them bitches on the floor, I'm immediately picking up and throwing it away. Like, I'm not like, there's not a single moment where I can, like, any of my pets can get to it. I'm like, nope. And the fact that this happens in the movie, and I'm like, nope, can't Can't see that. Like it
Yeah.
that was the moment in the movie that I felt severely uncomfortable. The rest of it, I was like, ooh, I can get out of this. Like, I can squirm my way out of this uncomfortableness. This one, I was like, nope, pit of my stomach. Like, move on, please. And it does. And it does move on very quickly to the rest of the story. But like I said, the
Yeah.
cat will come back into play in just a bit.
And that's the thing, like, it moves on, but at the same time, the movie, like, I don't get why they were so obsessed with having to bring up the fucking cat. Like, they
Yeah.
brought it up so many times too, and it's like, I
Yeah.
get it. Like, please just shut up. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't like anything that has like animal like death or like cruelty, like stuff like that. It's not that I get taken out of the movie, but it comes from experience. When you do have pets, you're just like, you literally see your pet in the moment. You don't
Yep.
see the movie's animal, you just see yours. So
Yep.
like Hannah was thinking about her cat Jasmine, and I was just like, "Fuck, dude, this is gonna
Yeah.
be a rough watch." And then it was over,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, cool, we're not gonna talk about it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nope.
And I will say, like, when we made our thumbnails for our review on YouTube, I immediately had to go grab my cat Sylvie and was like, all right, you're gonna be in this thumbnail for me now. And I was like, rubbing her, and I was like, all right, it's okay, sweetheart. Like, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I can't
Hey,
let you
shout
go
out
now.
Sylvie. She
Sorry.
killed it.
Oh yeah, she was, hey, future actress right there.
That's
Um,
facts.
but like I said, the movie does, start to spiral and go down, downhill in a good way real quick because Bear does use the One Wish Willow. And Steven, what was the exact words again? Could you play that back for me?
Yeah. I had it written down after I saw the movie, and it said, I wish Nikki loved me more than anyone in the fucking universe.
Yeah, those are some strong words, strong, large words to use. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Love is a strong language, a strong word in the English dictionary. Universe is a very large place. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's a lot of people in the world. Uh, and he said, "I wish," and that's, you know, there you go.
That
And
that leads me to
from now, go ahead.
oh no, that leads me to my question for you. Like my biggest question out of this thing was, does tone or does the user's tone make an effect on the outcome of the wish? Because Bear said it in a way of like, I wish it would end with the fucking universe, and kind of just like ripped it, where it was maybe like a little bit of like anger in there. Or
Yeah,
does something like that cause Nikki to then have that switch of, it's not I just love you, but I will kill for you?
yeah, yeah. The way that I mean, yes and no for me, truthfully, because I feel like in that moment, his emotions took over and he was upset with himself, but also just really wanted something so badly. Like he wanted Nikki to love him so badly. And even though he messed up by answering her question incorrectly and false, like he was telling a lie essentially, he was mad at
Yeah.
himself. And so he just took that anger out and just used those words in that order. If he would have been like, I just yes, I mean, to answer now that I'm thinking about it, yes. If he would have felt fine and normal and just said, "I wish Nikki would have loved me," and then pop broke it, then she would have loved him, and like I don't think there would have been that obsession spiral going for Nikki. But the fact that he did use that tone and that those words, emphatically, yeah, I do think that plays a part in the movie at least.
Hmm.
Because like we'll get to it in a little bit, but just a little teaser. Ian uses the One Wish Willow.
Yeah.
I mean, and he just kind of, I guess nonchalantly was just used it, and all of a sudden it happened, and it was like, whoa, like
Yeah.
what if he would have said, "I wish something else," and added emphatically? Like I don't know. Yeah, I do agree though. I think that the tone in which you make your wish has ramifications to how the wish comes true.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. That's a better way of putting it. And
Yeah.
that's the
Um,
one thing that's like really great about the movie though, is like when they give you the One Wish Willow and you get introduced to it, they don't tell you like, hey, you you only get one wish. They don't tell you that. So the entire time, and you're probably doing the same thing I was doing, you're sitting there going, so he knows where the store is. Why does he just go
yeah.
back?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the part where I was like, um, buddy, just go get another one.
Right,
Just
bro.
go like but we also got to continue with our breakdown of the movie. We got to remember though, Steven, it was all perfectly fine. Yeah, there were some moments that were like, that's a little weird, but everything was playing out so perfectly. They had dates. They had their little play dates where they were at home playing the guitar and he was like,
Mm-hmm.
messing around with her. Like they looked like a perfect couple. And I believe they said that this has been going on for 3 weeks, so there was a little time jump
Yeah.
of us seeing montages of them like hanging out and being flirty and being like, a relationship. Um and then you get to the moment to where they're at the dinner and again, Bear's best friend Ian calls him and says, "Yo, dude, I love you so much. I looked into this because it is a little weird." Um, but remember when Nikki said that her dad had cancer? Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a lie. That was not true. His dad, her
Mm-hmm.
dad has never been to this hospital. Like, and that's when Ian was like, or that's when Bear was like, "Oh, okay, let me confront her about it." And we've all seen the clip. We've all seen the
Yeah.
meme. We've all seen it out there. The no, 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 like it's the
Yeah.
progressively louder and like Nikki just goes off the rails from there. And I know
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, and I don't know about our listeners, but I am a huge person of I get secondhand embarrassment so easily. And
Oh
when
yeah.
she stood up and started doing that, I was like, so yeah, I was like covering my
It's
eyes.
bad.
I was like, I can't do this. Like, Bear, walk out, leave, just leave. Like, but I guess they made up and they were perfectly fine. And then again, after the first initial spiral, we like nosedive into the craziness of Nikki.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, what do you have anything that you would like to add to it?
Yeah, I mean, I thought one of the big parts of the movie that kind of made me a little uncomfortable was whenever they would go through something where Nikki kind of like exploded per se, where she had like the whole no 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 thing, and why would you bring that up? We had a good night, and
Yeah.
anytime something like that would happen, is it just me? But like they resolved it with sex,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it was like human touch for Nikki is what gets her to like kind of mellow back down.
Yeah.
And like the longer you go without it, the more intense shit she did.
Yeah.
Like that to
Yeah.
me
It
was
was it
really weird.
was it got to the point too to where like you mentioned, like the human touch, physical touch is like almost what like calms her down. And like yes, I know a lot of our listeners are probably saying like, "Oh, you missed this part in the show or in the movie. Oh, you missed this part in the movie." There is just this movie was so wild that you can't break it down like scene by scene because yes, we absolutely skipped over the fact that the first initial night that Nikki stayed with her had one of
Mm.
the most speechless
Fuck
moments.
no.
I,
No,
it
I
it
have
it
goosebumps
got
thinking about it.
it got to the point, Steven, where we were in like Bear wakes up in the middle of the night. Okay, I'm
Oh.
explaining it for our
Oh.
viewers or our listeners, so you can tune away if you would like. Um, Bear wakes up in the middle of the night, and Nikki is not next to him in bed. Nikki is just not there, and he's like looking around. He's like, Nikki, Nikki, and all of a sudden you hear her talk, and the camera
But no,
pans over.
you gotta say what she says.
I can't remember on the top of my head.
She goes, go back to sleep.
Yes,
Ew.
yes, yes, yes. In a
Ew.
very low tone, quick, like go back to sleep. Like very quick,
Yeah.
very low,
Yeah.
like, and then
Oh.
the camera pans to the front of the room. And I gotta be honest with you, I didn't see her. I did. There was not a single moment where I was like, I leaned over to Mike and I was like, bro, what am I supposed to be looking at? And he goes, do you not see her in the corner? And bro, as soon as he said that, my eyes gleamed right to the corner, and it was a dark corner, but you see the silhouette of her hair drenched over her face, and I'm like, nope, nope, nope. Like it, I did not catch it because I don't watch horror films, so I'm not like the person like you always got to look in the corner, you always got to look in the dark places. Like I was just
Right.
like, what are we showing? Like what are they showing us? What's going on here? But the moment that I noticed it, I, I was like,
It's fucking gross.
It was, and then she does the little walk, like, the
dude, the
the
fucking
the
walking is so weird.
yeah, and she
Like,
does it multiple times.
yeah,
Multiple times.
I don't want to say my favorite walk because if I saw her do that, like it would be on site. Like I would be pushing her ass, like locking her in a room. That one where she walks backwards into the kitchen.
Yes.
Fuck that shit. I even stated in the review, and I'll say it now. I do not like creepy walks. None of that. When you were JT, when you were describing it, I had goosebumps and I could feel my tears welling up because I hated that scene. I was like, ew.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was. Oh, yeah. I can't even. Because it again, like we mentioned, it gets quicker into the movie. Like it like passes over, and it's like, oh, the next morning is here, and it's like, huh, that's interesting. And then it happens more frequently. And Bear's like, you're freaking me out, Nikki. Like you're freaking me out.
Yeah.
I think the one moment that I was like, this shit is getting insane is when he calls the number on the box of the One Wish Willow. And some guy just nonchalantly was like, hey. And he's like, hey. And he's like, what do you need? And he's like, can I like change a wish? He's like, well, you can always cancel the wish. He's like, no, I don't want to cancel it. He's like, I just want to alter it. He's like, that's not how it works. He was like, well, what do you mean? And then I don't know if I noticed it. I don't know if anybody else noticed it. Maybe this happened. Maybe we can have Curry Barker on the episode telling us if this was true or not. I have heard that when he is on the phone and you see the house in the background, if you look closely, there is like movement in like the windows or like something. I don't know.
Ew.
I don't know how true that is. I don't know how true that is. So take it with a grain of salt. But it is very weird that the positioning of the house in the shot of the camera was like they wanted you to focus on that scene, you know? And I was more focused on what Bear was doing. So I didn't really necessarily like look at the house, but like he then realizes, okay, yeah, I need to cancel this wish. And he's like, yeah, I'd like to cancel it. And he goes, oh, we don't do that here. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
It's like, why would you give me the option?
It's like, yeah, why would you give me that option? And then all of a sudden he's like, but you can talk to her. And that's what I was like, what do you mean?
That
talk to her?
Was disgusting.
And then all of a sudden you start hearing screams and loud noises, and like you can hear Nikki in the background. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
this is the Nikki we are seeing on screen is not actually Nikki. Like it is someone totally different. But then the movie again, it gets back to where Bear is just trying to, live his life, but has this woman who is obsessed with him because of his doing. And there are moments in the movie where like she's like, all right, have a great day at work, because she's off work. I read somewhere, Steven, where from the moment that she left the house, or that Bear left the house, which was duct taped, by the way.
Yeah, the whole fucking door.
Yeah, the whole door. And she's like, oh, you can't get out. I guess you have to stay. And he's like, nope, I got it. And like, you hear the duct tape start ripping. And like, I don't know. The Curry Barker does a great job at making me feel different ways about these characters. Because like,
yeah.
I wasn't a fan of Nikki because I was like, oh, give Bear a chance. Like, just give a Bear a chance. And then all of a sudden Bear's like this asshole. Is like, no, screw you, Bear. Like, why would you even do this? Like, why would you make this girl? And then I'm like, oh, well, now I kind of feel bad for Bear because it's like this girl is just so so messed up and like just not letting him do anything. But Steven, I don't know if you read this or not, but I again heard this on the internet, so take it with a grain of salt. But we see her like when he leaves and she's smiling with this eerie, freaky smile. And then when he gets back from work, she is this like disgusting mess. Someone said online that she had not moved from that spot. Now that you hear this and you know what the scene is like when he gets home, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because not only does she stand there and she looks disgusting, she goes to the bathroom, both 1 and 2, in the same spot.
Yeah.
I kind of believe it. I kind of believe it.
Honestly, it makes sense, especially when he walks in. She has puke, like she puked on herself. She's like, "I'm disgusting," and it's like, "Oh,
Yeah, bitch, you are.
whoa, that yeah." Look gonna say like now that you say that, that's really fucking weird.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we do have to backtrack a little bit because while Bear is on at work, Sarah, who we don't really get to follow much, we know that Sarah wants to go to school and she's applied to all these different colleges. And she gets a letter from her place of work and she gets denied from a college. Her and Bear have this nice little touching moment, and you can sense that there's some romantic, romantic vibes there.
Mm.
But that's not the part of the scene that I want to talk about.
Oh gosh. And just like the
Because
movie,
Steven,
JT, you're gonna bring some shit up again, huh?
yeah, because Steven, who doesn't love to be a food critic?
Mm.
Who
What's the
doesn't
verdict?
love to cat?
Yeah. Fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
the entire time I was very confused because Bear and Nikki had this lovely moment at dinner one night where they are discussing about what they want to do. And Bear says, I want to be a food critic. I want to have people give me food and I don't have to pay for it and I give my thoughts on it. Well, Nikki takes that into consideration and makes him a lunch. And when he's there, Sarah's teasing him and says, my little food critic, what is this? And Bear's like eating the
Mm.
sandwich, just like gnawing down on it, munching it. And uh, sh- I can't even.
Well, even Sarah beforehand goes, "Ugh, that smells."
Yes, she mentioned it, and I didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh, it was in a container for however long. Sandwiches do get kind of smelly after sitting there for a minute, and
Yeah.
and then she flips the lid over, and she was like, "What's the verdict? Cat? Like, what does that mean?" And he's like, and then it hits him. Nikki made
Oh,
the sandwich out of his dead cat.
nah.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And here's the thing: if you're Bear and you've just witnessed and been through nights of this bitch going off the rails, are you gonna accept food from her?
No.
No.
No. No.
Why? It's like,
No.
the way that Bear, like, it never surprised me how stupid he was,
Yeah.
and also just how much of like a manipulator and piece of shit he is. Because quick back to what I just remembered now, back to that phone call with the customer service agent when he was like, "You can alter it." He's like, "No, I don't want to cancel it." Where it's like he still wants to be in love with Nikki. He just doesn't want
Yes.
the craziness. That's still so fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, to your point here with the whole she cooked his fucking cat. And he's sitting there and he already swallowed a piece of the
Yes.
sandwich, by
He's
the
already
way.
been chewing. He's already been chewing and yeah. And he leans over and just like pukes it up in the toilet
Ugh.
or in the trash can. And he keeps telling her that is an inside joke between them. That is no inside joke. That is
Hell no.
like that's disgusting, man.
Yeah.
No, we can't have that. That's not um so then he like confronts her and like she's showering and it's just the I'm trying to play out the moments in my head that like where the movie gets a little like crazy because there's a lot of moments
Yeah.
where you're just like leading into things. Um Another moment was on the same day he has to take Ian home and Ian's confronting him about like, yo, this is crazy. You can't leave or she can't leave your side. Come to my house and have a boys' night. And he's like, fine. And Bear even knows that that's not going to go well.
Yeah.
He even knows. And he's like, all right, fine. I'll do it. But before that, when they get in the car, the camera, the cinematography does the thing again where it shows the car and it switches over. And Mike told me this. Now, again, I didn't see it. Mike said that she is in the bushes in that moment, in that scene.
Ew.
Because I leaned over and he was like, yo, no, no, no. He was like doing this. I don't know if he was seeing it like subconsciously or if she was actually there. But yeah, that was a moment where I didn't catch it. And I was like, I'm glad I didn't catch it. But the camera
Yeah.
does it again, where the car is now on the left side or the right side of the camera, and you are focusing on Bear and Ian in the middle, like on the middle part of the camera, and the background is what's kind of the important part of it. And that's how the entire movie is. It's like, hey, look in the corner here, or make sure you notice the background, because there's something always going on. Well, we get back to the, fast forward, we get back to the house, and Nikki is showering, and Bear's like, hey, Ian called and he wants to have a boys' night. And she's like, yeah, okay, I'll get ready in a minute. No, it's a boys' night, so no girls are invited. And then the shower shuts off, and I was like, oh.
Mhm.
And she's like, that's weird, because Sarah told me that she was invited. And Bear was like, oh, well, there's my in. Yeah, okay, yeah, you can come. And
Yeah.
then that, again, talk about secondhand embarrassment. I
Did
got
not like that party
so
scene.
that party scene was so like cringy to me, but not like in like
Yeah.
a I don't know, it's a different version of cringe, but like the way that they were playing this Jenga game where if you pull a block and you're successful, you do whatever the block says, and one of them, Bear, pulls it, and it was like well, no, before even that, Nikki pulls a block, and she goes into this like Hansel and Gretel type like poem, and she's like, oh, it's just a book I'm writing on, and everybody was like,
Yeah.
this is
It
not
had
good,
it had like incest in it, and it was just like it
ripping
got
off
really
skin, and
grotesque.
yeah,
Yeah, it was just really bad.
yeah, and everybody was like, oh, we're gonna move on. And so Bear's turn is next, and he pulls a block, and he's like, and he kind of looks up, and Ian's like, well, what does it say? And he was like, kiss the person to your left. And Sarah happens to be the person on his left, until the camera doesn't pan. It's them, it's Ian, or it's Bear and Sarah looking at each other, and you just see Nikki walk around and grab the chair and pull it backwards. Again, there's no words, nothing is being said, just noises. She gets down on her knees and like puckers up, and he goes in for the kiss, and she's like, see, I was to the left. And I was like,
Yeah.
bro,
Also,
like,
one of
that
the
is
creepier
wild.
parts there is when he reads that, it does that one cut to Nikki's face, and she has that frown.
Oh my God.
And dude, and that frown was freaky. And she just goes and stand behind Sarah for like at least, what was it, JT, like 3 seconds or so,
Yeah.
just standing there. And then you see
Yeah.
the dun dun. She just pull. I was like, fuck this. I honestly, I thought something was gonna happen to Sarah in that moment.
Yeah.
I was like,
Well,
she's dead. Right? Yeah. But
yeah,
it was coming.
But it was, it was one of those moments where everybody's like, all right, this is weird. And so then Nikki grabs one of the, like, someone asked her if she was okay, and like is like questioning her, and she gets a bottle and starts smashing it in her head and like cutting her up. And Bear is like trying to help her, takes her to the hospital. The hospital doesn't want anything with her.
Yeah, they're like, fuck that.
Yeah, we don't want anything. She's outside like dancing, and she's like, no. So they go home, and he's like, I just want Nikki. I just want normal Nikki. And she says a line that I think really put Bear in a trance, where he's like, okay, I think everything is okay, because he continually asks for Nikki. I want the real Nikki. I want the real Nikki, the normal Nikki. And she's like, I am the normal Nikki. And he's like, I just want you to love me and be real. And she says, Nikki will love you in every universe. And I was like, no. I was like, he's gonna take that and run with it. And he sure did. And he was like, I love you too. And like he, kind of, the scene ends.
He caves.
But I was like, yo. Yeah, I was like, yo. But that also is the moment, Steven, where you were talking about the backwards walking.
No, hate it.
She like does this like put a video in reverse, and it that's how she's walking, and then she just stands in the doorway, all pitch black.
And she does have that creepy monologue too, where she's talking about how she has the knife, and she's like, well, I guess I'll just sit here, and it'll be really warm, and eventually my wrists will feel cold, and your hands will fill up with TV static, and then eventually you'll just feel nothing, and it'll all just cease to, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, I did not like it.
It was, no, the again, Indy Navarrete or Navarat, whatever, however you want to pronounce her name. She does a phenomenal job at making me feel very uncomfortable. Like she makes me feel so uncomfortable, and I'm like, that's how you know she's a good actress. Is I'm like, yeah, she was great. But then we fast forward to them in bed the next night, and Sarah texts Bear, and was like, hey, I need you to come to the park. I have something to tell you. And he's like, I can't. Can you just text me? And she's like, no.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I'm here already. Can you just come? And he's like, all right, fine. So he's like trying his hardest to not wake up Nikki. He gets to the door frame, and you hear Nikki go, Bear. And then he's like, I'm just getting a glass of water. Like he's so like, and she's like, this is Nikki. She's asleep. Do not wake her up. And I'm like, what? Like the real Nikki is snapping into reality, and the body of Nikki is asleep, but Nikki's conscious is talking to him, and she's like, kill me in this. Just kill me. Yeah. And he's like, I can't. He's like, I can't do that. And she's like, no. She starts crying, and like Bear's leaving, and we get to the scene with Bear and Sarah in the car, and Sarah has her last letter from a college to see if she got accepted or denied. And they're just talking, and she's like, look, I gotta tell you that Ian and Nikki had been hooking up on and off for the past couple months. And Bear's like, oh, okay. And then she's like, and I just don't want you to get hurt. Like, I want you to be with someone who's mellow and down to earth. And he goes, someone like you. And she has this smile. And then she says, I mean, I was on your left. And then, like a rhino in the fucking forest, here comes Nikki bellowing in with her head, crashes the window,
boom,
puts a brick right in front of the steering wheel, and just bashes Sarah's head in. Just constantly, just bash after bash after bash. And rest in peace to Sarah. She is no longer with us.
Honestly, Sarah deserves so much better.
So much better. And it gets to the point to where she's like, it's okay. She's like, Nikki is like caressing Bear, and Bear's just like, what just happened? Like, what is going on? And she's like, it's okay, but we have to do something with the body. And it's like, she's like, yeah, okay. And they take it, I can't remember where they take it, but they take the body somewhere. And then we come to realize that Nikki had taken the body again and undressed her and put her in their house. And I don't know if you noticed this, because I didn't at first until I watched that scene over again online, but Nikki also tattoos or draws a similar tattoo to what Sarah had on her body. And because she knows that Bear is having feelings for Sarah. Yeah. And she is drawing herself like Sarah so Bear can like her, which is weird.
She also does her hair like Sarah. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that is, I was sitting there, I was like, wait, she never had, oh my God. And they have that one scene too where they're in the house and they pan to the bedroom and you just see Sarah's lifeless body.
Yep.
All undressed, just sitting in the middle of the fucking room. And Bear's like, okay, like, what is going on?
Yeah.
It's, oh, dude.
But that's where yeah.
One quick point to what you were saying earlier too about when Nikki was coming out of like that trance in the sleep, was Bear asked one question to Nikki. He was like, what's so wrong with being with me? And then Nikki goes, I've never been with you.
Yep.
And he's just like, oh, fuck. And one other quick point to make that I think the movie did a great job at doing is how we mentioned all the way in the beginning of the episode. You said it best. The movie does a good job of making you sit there and watch the movie, and you feel like you can't get out of your skin, because they put you in the exact state that Nikki is in the entire time, where you're watching something happen and you can't get out. That's
Amen.
Curry Barker, fucking friend of the pod. God bless, dude. You are fucking amazing.
Like, yeah, that like when I heard her talk and she wasn't moving, or it was like her conscience or something, like the real Nikki is like tapping in, I was like, bro, this is so sad. Like Like this girl has like Mike said in his review, this girl has no control of what she's doing. It is all because of what Bear wants. And all you had to do, bro, is just talk. Just talk to
Just
her.
say yes.
Just say
And
yes.
that's
Just
the thing, like,
end it. And the what's the worst thing that could happen? She doesn't like you back. Oh well, look at Sarah, who is a like look at Sarah, who is a perfectly fine, like sweet and gentle person who just wants the best. Oh, like that also.
She's also not a fucking liar, like how your best friend is sleeping with her for 2 months without you knowing.
Yeah.
Like, it is insane, dude. Oh.
But we have to finish how the movie ends, and Bear goes back to the magic shop, finds another One Wish Willow, says that the counter guy was like, "Oh, you can't break it. Like you can't do it." But he's trying. Every single time he's trying to break the One Wish Willow. And you mentioned it before we started recording, but every time he tries it, it's a different jingle. And it's like more of a haha, you can't break this. Like you're trying, but you can't. And it's getting him pissed off. So then he realizes, oh, I can have someone else wish something for me. So he takes it to Ian's house and he's like, what is going on? And you got to remind you guys, Bear is like, hasn't slept in what feels like hours or days. He's got blood and just sweat all over him. And Ian's like, whoa, what is going on? Yeah. And he's like, I need you to do something. And Ian's like, I'm not going to do this. It's fake. It doesn't work. And he's like, I need you to just say something for me. And he's like, oh, what do you want me to say? I wish for $1 billion. He breaks it. And as soon as he says that, whew, the clouds open and $1 billion starts raining in. And he's like looking at it, and Bear's like in distraught. And he's like, I have nothing more to do. This is it. So he goes back to the house, and Nikki is waiting there for him. And they have this moment of like, I just want you to be normal. And he's freaking out. And he's like, okay, all is good. We're fine. Like, it's okay. He goes to the bathroom and he locks himself in there. And as soon as he locks himself in there, you just hear,
wait, we're missing a really big important part.
I was hoping you would get
remember,
to it.
He walks in the house and she has a gun.
A gun.
They're freaking out. He is scared, sitting on the couch, and she's like putting the gun in her mouth. She is just like all over the place. Yeah. You hear the banging on the door, and it's his fucking friend walking in. Ian. He's like, dude, I got $1 billion, and it's real.
Boom.
She turns around and goes fucking Deathstroke, headshot, right?
No hesitation.
Yeah, just boom, kill. And you're like, oh my God. And then back to your point, JT, you can continue where he runs to the bathroom.
Yeah, he runs to the bathroom just like distraught, doesn't know what to do. But the only thing to do in this moment is to kill himself, or at least he thinks so. And he goes into the bathroom, and he's got the gun, and he cannot find the way, or it doesn't seem like he can make that decision of actually shooting himself. So he does what happens earlier in the movie, and he basically takes a bottle full of pills to OD, and he's sitting there, and you can tell his face is starting to like get a different color, and he's starting to like really feel it. And it's such a good moment in the movie, Steven, because as he's like regretting this and puts his fingers in his mouth to throw it all up, you hear the break and the tone of the One Wish Willow. And he throws up, he comes out of the bathroom. Him and Nikki are having this moment of like loving each other and doing all this. And we got to back up a little bit, because when he's on the phone call with the phone operator says, you can't cancel, you can't alter. The only way to get out of it is if you die.
Mm-hmm.
So he's had this thought throughout the entire movie, but then he actually tries to do it. He doesn't. He gets too like nervous and afraid, so he throws up the medicine. But as he is throwing it up, she breaks the One Wish Willow. What does she wish?
You see him.
We don't know.
Smile.
Yeah, we don't know what she wishes, but he smiles. He goes back out to her. He's caressing her. He's holding her, kissing her. They get on the couch, and then he starts to OD. And he dies. And when he dies, it snaps Nikki back into reality. And the old Nikki that we got to see for maybe 20 minutes of the movie, the original Nikki, is now laying with Bear on her lap, dead. Sarah's in the other room, naked, dead. And Ian is on the floor with a bullet through his head, dead. I listened last night. I listened to a interview from Curry, Barker, and Indy, and the interviewer was like, "So was that the original ending?" And Curry says, "No, the original ending was everyone dies. She kills herself, like Nikki would kill herself." But
Oh,
the people behind him and like were saying like, let's just shoot a scene to see what would happen if she survived. And that scene that you saw, Steven, was a one shot. They didn't take any breaks. They didn't take any pauses. They didn't take
wow.
reshoots. That was a one shot. And as soon as it ended and the camera like panned down, they all looked at each other like, yeah, we're keeping that in. Like that's
That's
our
a way
ending.
better ending. Well, because
Yeah.
it's also like my favorite part about that ending is when you do have Nikki snap and come back. The movie does a good job at kind of showing you that, like, hey, Bear's a manipulator. He's a piece of shit. You start to think about all those scenes where they would kind of have sex to resolve issues. And now that you know that Nikki wasn't actually fully there, it makes the scenes more uncomfortable when you think about it.
Yeah.
But the best part is that Nikki sits there, looks at Bear OD, and she just pushes him off. You just hear the doo-doo.
Yeah.
There is no care. There's no setting him down gently. She's like, "What the fuck?" Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I loved it.
Yeah. And again, that's where like when we started the episode, that's where I said it kind of opens the door for something else. Because Nikki's still alive. Maybe you do it. I don't want to rip off or say like Final Destination-esque, but like, in every Final Destination there is someone from the previous movie that is like, I survived.
And a callback,
Don't do
yeah.
this. Yeah, and like you could use Nikki as a callback to to an Obsession 2 or to like a spinoff or whatever you want to do. But like, we
Nikki's
just went
gonna
down
be
the entire
the
movie.
Tony Todd of the
Yeah.
Obsession universe, where she
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
I had it done to me.
Yeah,
God,
but like we
great.
went through this entire movie, we broke it down, not scene by scene because that's going to be literal impossible to do. But we did our best,
Oh yeah.
and I hope you guys enjoyed it, our listeners. Honestly, if you've seen the movie, please let us know in the comments what you thought of it, because obviously myself, Steven, and my good friend Mike, who saw it with me, we all loved it. The online discourse around it is that it is a very good horror film. And I think you should also go check it out. Form your own opinion. Don't listen to people online. We're just telling you what we think. But anything else, Steven?
No, that's it for me. And whatever you do, just be careful what you wish for.
Let's look past them together.